Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Saturday live stream. Whatever can go wrong this morning is going wrong this morning, starting with my glasses that I cannot see out of. How's it going? My name is Angela. I'm a front-end developer and a software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And it is hot and humid, and I'm a little cranky today. Kind of having a rough morning so far. Anyways, yeah, the glasses. Hang on, everyone. Hold, please. I don't know, man. We're just off to a rough start today. How's it going? How is everybody doing? Let's start fresh. My name is Angela. I am a front-end developer and a software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I don't really do frameworks or libraries because I enjoy vanilla and I think vanilla is still important. The last couple of months, I probably more like the last month or so, we've been doing a lot more with agentic AI workflows, and we're just about to start our second full stack desktop app, or I guess browser-based app, right? I think that distinction probably matters. The last project we did was a database where I transcribed. Well, I'm in the process of transcribing all of my live streams using Mac Whisper, and that's going really well. There's a lot to do. I think there's a total of 241, and I've done about 70-ish. So I'm like, what is that? Almost a third of the way through. There's a lot left to go. I think I'll have that done in a couple of months. But we built the app, which is basically me being able to search all of my live stream content based on a keyword search, which is pretty cool. Now we're doing um it's very similar. It's like a filtered database search, but it's also an e-reader. I downloaded all of Jane Austen's books, which are in the public domain. I got them on Project Gutenberg, and we're going to build a database using Jane Austen's books. And it'll be very similar, the search functionality, but it will also be an e-reader. And I'm excited to work on the front end. The front end will be vanilla. I'm excited to work on the front end and have theme switching, font switching, changing sizes, just providing a nice e-reader experience. So I think it'll be fun. So there's that. All right, I'm gathering myself. It's really hot today. And listen, I know people are watching right now that are in much warmer climates than me. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. We are not used to the heat here in the Midwest. We're just not used to it. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. I don't even mind the heat. It's the humidity I really hate. I don't like the humidity. Everything is just wet and sweaty and sticky. Ugh, I don't like it. Even with the air conditioning on, how is that possible? The air conditioning's on. Why is it still hot? Why is it still humid? I don't understand. I don't get it. Anyways, Osloy is here. I am so cranky today. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm really not. This is just the mood. And it's really hard for me to pretend that I am anything other than what I am, which has not served me well in my professional career, let me tell you. Yeah, it is what it is. Good morning. How are you? Osloy is here. Let's go. True Human is also here. And Gogo Elmo is here. Malik Robinson. Malik is our mod in the chat. And I'm so grateful for everybody that comes to hang out with me. True Human, I think you've been here before. I recognize the name. Osloy, of course, found me this spring in April when we were working on 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. I love having all you guys in the chat. I definitely appreciate you. So let's turn our frown upside down, shall we? And pick up where we left off yesterday. Really, we spent the entire day. Yesterday was day one of, we're calling this the Jane Austen database. Yesterday was day one. And we spent the whole day finalizing our requirements document. We did, I mean, I need ChatGPT to help me with writing these requirements. I don't even know what to ask for. I don't even know what to ask for. Which, you know what? This makes me think, okay, can we talk for a second? Let's chat. Let's chat for a second. This is actually kind of just occurring to me, but maybe I've been thinking about this long, but I haven't thought about it quite in these terms. Reflecting on how much help I needed from ChatGPT yesterday to nail down these requirements, first of all, it gives me just so much more appreciation for backend and full stack developers who are doing this type of work every day. But now it's occurring to me that what is the experience for somebody to vibe code a front end? Presumably, there are thousands, hundreds, thousands, a million full stack or backend developers who hate front end, do not have any desire to learn front end, and they're obviously vibe coding their front ends. Or just there's the whole crop of non-developers vibe coding all the ends, right? What is that experience like? It makes me think that we should vibe code a landing page, because I shouldn't need ChatGPT to write those requirements for me. I know what the requirements are. I do that every day. I've spent the last 13 years of my life doing that. So should we, dozens, it's, I'm sure it's more than dozens. Let's go with thousands. I'm sure there are thousands of people out there. Should we vibe code a front end? I think we should. I had no intention of doing that, but it makes me think, because of the requirements needed to actually get something decent produced here, I know how to write requirements for a front end project. Like, I feel like we should do that. We should spend a weekend and do that, because now that I see what's really involved in getting Codex to do the back end, I feel like I should be contributing to requirements gathering for front end, right? Like, that's a conversation that I can add to, that I can really contribute to. Because we can tell people all day long, oh, I don't even know why we would do this. I wouldn't do this. I don't see anybody else doing this. What was my point? I had a point, but it's so stupid I'm not going to make the point. I think the greater point is people are going to be vibe coding front end, back end, database, API, everything. Why? Just because I believe in vanilla front end code and practice and actually being good at that, why wouldn't I still want to contribute to the people? There is still a place for me here to contribute by teaching people how to write requirements, right? This is just occurring to me now, that I could be a part of this process. I could contribute to this. Every reel that I see on Instagram, yeah, I mean, every reel that I see on Instagram where people talk about, I built a website and I had all of these problems and I had to ask for this because I didn't know, I've never done anything like this before. I could contribute to that process, because those people are going to do that whether I'm contributing or not. Somebody who says, I'm going to vibe code my own website is never going to hire me and spend $5,000 to have me do it. They're going to download Claude Code or Codex. They're going to do it themselves. They're going to suffer through and figure it out, and they're going to build their own website because they've already decided that they're going to do that. So why wouldn't I at least contribute to that and make that easier? That could actually maybe be a product. Yeah, Osley says it would be cool for me to see what you do by coding a front end. I agree. I totally agree. I am not going to abandon actually getting on YouTube and showing people how to do the work. I will never abandon that. But I think it's very, very clear that development has changed. And for me to just continue on moving forward, not really acknowledging that and missing the opportunity to contribute to that is a mistake. Yeah, it's a mistake. So, all right, well, little rubber ducky debugging here this morning, huh? Yeah. So that's something to look forward to. Okay, let's get back to it. Let's get back to our stuff. So we finished our requirements yesterday for the Jane Austen database. We wrote the first prompt, which is to analyze the book source. So this prompt doesn't build anything. It's just analysis of the books and the data, which we've already done some of. And then we have prompts for the remaining steps, which really I copied from the last project. On the last project, we had all the prompts ready to go ahead of time. This time, I'm not going to edit and move forward with any prompt until I see for myself what the last prompt produced. I didn't know what I was looking at in the last project. I have a much better sense now of what I'm looking at. So I feel like this is going to be a really good approach. So if you want to see the requirements in the first prompt from yesterday, you can go back and watch that video. I say that we just go ahead and pull up Codex and get started. Why not? We're like 15 minutes in. We haven't done anything but sit and talk and complain about the weather. So let me pull up Codex and we'll get started. All right. So here's the Jane Austen project. We need to get started with a new. And I feel like I need, yeah, you need like lots of sets of instructions. So we're gonna do this. There's like, you have to write a prompt to do the prompt. So this is prompts. So we want to read jobs, backend requirements. Read the file, do not rely on your memory. Yeah, this is crazy that I had to start adding this because even if you say read the file, it won't read the file sometimes. Process. So we wanted to process well, I think we just have to tell it to do the requirements. If we tell it to do the requirements, I don't think I have to. I think these folders are already. Save and replace output in the let's create a folder here called output. So I think as markdown in the output folder, jobs output. Jobs output. So read requirements.md first, then do the first prompt. Then read jobs backend jobs backend analyze booksource.md, read both files, do not rely on your memory, save and replace the output as markdown in the output folder, jobs output. Okay. Whew. Are we ready? Well, what's the worst that can happen? We have to reprompt. It's not the worst thing in the world. Here we go. Stop. Fix that. Open API. Fix it. Fix it. It's annoying. Hold, please. My God, stop. Look, even if you just get, why? Why does it, if I want it open, I will open it. What's this? Turn off activity view. Oh my God. I can't. I can't. OpenAI, you're killing me. Persuasion has metadata and a report, but no plain text book file. Also, every metadata file points to books slug o, which conflicts with the requirements. I'm documenting these rather than inventing a resolution. Hang on, stop. I'm going to stop. I'm going to update the book paths, then we'll continue. So persuasion. Oh, I missed one. Okay. Paste. Oh. Whoops. Copy. Paste. Okay. And then so let's do a find and replace. So what's the The correct source is metadata, just metadata, and then the name. Oh, we're still gonna have to change all of them. I can't today. Okay. All right, just update them. You know what? Sometimes this is just how it is, right? You wake up, you're cranky, your dog's barking at you, it's hot and humid outside, and you're just in a bad mood. It's just life. Nothing in output yet, so we caught it early. Well, I guess we can continue. I'm gonna put in the prompt again. Okay. Okay, good. Honestly, as mistakes go, that was an easy one to fix. Mm-hmm. Once again, I didn't even think about making sure I had a way to entertain people in between prompts and thinking. So, oh my gosh. Stop. Just it's such a bad user experience to have that thing pop out every single time my mouse gets even enters the neighborhood. I don't understand. Should we increase our thinking? I mean, I've got where are we at here for I've got resets and I didn't do my other resets. And we've got 100%. I mean, we could upgrade the thinking to see if this can go a little faster. Makes no difference to me. I don't think that what we're building is going to use, I don't know, I don't think it's going to use that much stuff. My other resets, I never used them. Maybe I should have. Maybe we should increase the thinking. Effort. Can we change it in the middle of thinking? Yeah, somebody's saying any reason you prefer light mode. I mean, I've just always, that's just the default. I'm learning. So let's do high and let's speed this up. Giddy up. Let's go. I mean, I'm never gonna know how much juice we use up if I'm not at least trying, right? So we're gonna go high, we're gonna go fast. How's that? Okay, so created and verified the analysis. Let's take a look see, and then we're gonna share it with good old ChatGPT. Okay. The analysis covers only the 9 approved directories. Well, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So approved directories, canonical text, JSON, extra file, which is that report. No nested directories were present. Thought this table was a little more important than it actually is. Okay. No nested directories were present. Every approved directory contained exact, okay, yes. Directory and file name contract. Okay. Plain text parsing contract. Files are complete Gutenberg transcripts, not body-only books. Observed non-body material includes. Okay, I already knew that. The reports state that front matter, contents, terminal markers, licenses, and standalone editorial illustration matter were excluded. However, they do not provide exact start and end line markers or a complete machine readable classification rule. In letter apparatus in, oh yeah, the letters of Jane Austen is a little bit different of a format. If this book causes problems, we'll exclude it for now. We'll see what it says though. Chapters and chapter equivalent sections. Source headings vary by work and edition. Yep. Some have numbered chapters, some have Roman numeral chapters. Sentences, the reports describe deterministic punctuation-based segmentation after paragraph lines are joined, periods, question marks, and exclamation marks are terminal punctuation, common abbreviation, okay. JSON metadata contract. No publication date or publication year field exists in any JSON file. Gutenberg release update dates and edition dates visible in raw text are not reliably the book's publication date. The required book date, therefore, cannot currently be. Yeah, I could probably just look that up myself. I'll look that up myself later. Because every top level field appears in every inspected file. They formed the, okay. The common character shape is this, yep. Places, yep. Okay. If the outstanding parsing decisions are resolved, a sentence chunk can carry an empty physical line as a separator, not an empty sentence. Heading and excluded editorial blocks do not produce sentence chunks. Multiple sentences may occur in one joined paragraph, and one sentence may span multiple physical lines. Yep, we knew that. Relative path, validation rules. I mean, honestly, I'm not, nothing is jumping out at me here, but I guess, what did I expect? I'm not seeing anything jumping out at me saying that there's a big problem. Though I think the whole point of this was just to analyze and give a report and have a plan, right? The structure below shows values that the intended parser should produce. The sentence is the opening sentence of Emma, and the ordinals use a clearly labeled one base convention solely to make the example readable. The project must approve that convention before implementation. Okay. This object cannot be This object cannot be generated reliably under the present contract until body boundaries, heading recognition, wrapped line joining, and tokenization are fixed. Okay, so I'll be curious to see what ChatGPT is suggesting for this. Inconsistencies in edge cases. The required book date is absent. I can get that myself tonight. I can look those up. The raw texts are whole Gutenberg editions with materially different front matter and editorial apparatus. Okay. JSON chapter titles are normalized labels, not exact raw headings. Exact title matching is unusable for 8 books and incomplete or ambiguous for Love and Friendship. Emma restarts source chapter numbering across volumes, while JSON uses a sequential 55 record list. Lady Susan, Love and Friendship, and the Letters of Jane Austen use chapter records for letters, a conclusion, anthology pieces, or nonfiction correspondence. Love and Friendship is an anthology, so a generic chapter detector cannot cover it. Pride and Prejudice contains decorated, illustrated chapter headings, capitalization and punctuation variation, captions and production markup. Sense and Sensibility and Northanger Abbey include edition-specific introductory or editorial matter that must not be treated as narrative. Okay, fair. The Letters of Jane Austen retains some in-letter editorial apparatus, dates, addresses, salutations, and signatures. Ordinary prose-only assumptions would lose source content. So I'm tempted to just stick with the 6 books and exclude Love and Friendship, The Letters of Jane Austen, and Lady Susan. That's what I'm tempted to do. But we'll see what ChatGPT says. ChatGPT may read this and have a solution for how we can resolve the inconsistencies. Well, let's just keep going. Decisions required before importer implementation. Publication date. I can do that. Body boundaries. Provide exact per book standard, per book start and end anchors. I mean, we could just open up the plain text files and literally type something in that says start and end. That's what I'm thinking. Let's make a list so we can actually, let's make a list so when we have ChatGPT read the book format analysis, we can propose solutions, right? So publication date. I can get these dates later tonight. Body boundaries. Can I just type start and end into the plain text file? I'm sure I can. Chapter mapping. Provide exact raw heading patterns or source offsets for every chapter equivalent record, including volumes, letters, anthology works, decorated headings, conclusion, and repeated headings. Chapter mapping. I'm just going to say, what do you suggest? Okay. Paragraph normalization. Define blank line handling, line joining, white space collapse, indentation, soft hyphenation, lists, verse, letters, and layout markup. Okay. Paragraph normalization. Not sure what I'm being asked to do here. Okay. Sentence tokenizer. Freeze the precise algorithm, abbreviation data, Unicode terminal closing punctuation behavior, ellipses, and interruption handling, and its version. The implementation must reproduce the stored per chapter counts. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here either. Not sure what to do here either. And let's take a break. I have something in the chat here. So Rezi says, hello, I am one of those full stack developers. I learned prompt what the goal is, talk it into the prompt window exactly what you told us. Oh, do you mean that you are learning from how I'm prompting? Is that what you mean? I think that's what you're saying. I learned prompt what the goal is. I learned prompt what is the goal, talk it into the prompt window exactly what you told us. Hopefully that's what, I think that's what you mean. Tell me, clarify that if I'm misunderstanding your comment. If you're saying that you learned how to do it based on how I'm doing it, I think that's amazing, obviously. And yeah, I see that you're also a member. So you either joined the memberships or you got a free membership. Should we do some free memberships? We can. It's the first of the month and I'm allowed to give out 10 every month. Let's do it. Why not? Let's see here. Membership gifting. Send 5 now. I don't see them yet. I don't think they came up in the chat. Let me see if I can see them here on the back end in YouTube Studio. Normally the chat normally they get displayed in the chat who got the memberships. Let me see. Maybe it'll tell me. Oh, there they go. Okay. Took a minute. So 8 BP game, Eshtibiland, um, Tika the app developer, Nurlan, and Ranjanari. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering those names. And Rezi says, yes, the models are so good. You told us what you would like to see as an end product, what your concerns are. You can tell the AI exactly that. Tell it the goal. Oh, just tell it. So you're saying just tell it the go, tell it the goal. Well, okay. So you're saying that I don't need to, I think what you're saying is I don't need to go through these steps. I can just tell it what the goal is and let it do the work. Yeah, that's a pass for me. I'm never going to prompt Codex and just tell it the end goal and not be involved, not have a say or talk about what I actually want built. So I understand that the models are so good and that they can technically do the work, but I'll be honest, I am an experienced software engineer and I have an expectation. I know what I want and I want to see what's being built. That's just me. I want to see what's being built. So if you're comfortable, and I understand that um, some people are comfortable just telling Codex or whatever you're using what the goal is and just letting them make the decisions. That's not me. I want to know what's happening here. I want to know what decisions are being made. I want to be part of the process. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So I'm learning how to do this. This is my second full stack app. It's not my second time using Codex. Yeah. Does that make sense? Let's do another one. I don't know. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. You think that's a mistake? So do you think it's a mistake that I'm this involved? All right, there's all the gift memberships for August. Sorry, I don't actually have gift content, membership content, yes. Rashi says, I tell it, give me the plan. It won't do it for you. You are the key. Right. I'm confused. I'm not sure, Rashi, if you're telling me that you think I'm doing it the right way or the wrong way. I'm genuinely confused. I'm not sure if you think I'm doing this the right way or the wrong way. Um, I think you're telling me the models are really good. Tell it what your goals are, what your concerns are. Let it do the work. Rashi says, I tell it, give me the plan. It won't do it for you. You are the key. Yeah. I think we're agreeing. We're landing somewhere in the middle. We're agreeing somehow, some way, right? All right. Speaking of which, this is probably a good time to remind people. Would you be so kind as to like and subscribe? It helps the algorithm, helps get this content pushed out to more people who might be interested in this type of thing. Um, yeah, helps the channel grow. Oh, Gogo almost says they're saying they could not get it to operate properly, but they operate properly for you. You know, here's what I'm going to do. Let's do this. Let's have ChatGPT help me understand. I bet that's what Gogo Elmo did. No, let's do this. Okay, hang on. I'm not sharing my screen. So I took a screenshot of Reshi's comments in the chat. Um, this is a comment from someone in the chat. I think they are telling me I'm not sure what they're telling me. I'm working through a full stack app with Codex. I'm very involved in the requirements and writing the prompts. I think this viewer is saying I am doing a good job with the prompts. How do you interpret? How do you interpret the comments? This is a good use of ChatGPT because sometimes I get comments and I'm like, I'm not quite sure what this person's saying. That's exactly how I read it. I don't think they're giving you advice because they think you're doing it wrong. I think they're reacting to what they've seen you doing on stream and saying, yes, that's the right way to use these models. Okay, here's how I interpret each message. I am one of those full stack developers. I learned prompt what the goal is, talk it into the prompt window exactly what you told us. This is a little ungrammatical, which is fine, but I think they're saying, I'm a full stack developer too. I learned from you that I should tell the AI what the goal is. I literally tell it exactly what you told us. In other words, they're saying they adopted your prompting style. Yay! Yay. Yes, the models are so good. You told us what you would like to see as an end product, what your concerns are. You can tell the AI exactly that, tell it the goal. This is the clearest statement. They're saying modern models are good enough that instead of writing tiny, hyper optimized prompts, you can simply explain what you're building, what success looks like, and what you're worried about, what constraints matter. That's almost exactly how you've been approaching the Jane Austen database. Instead of saying write parser, you've been saying things like this database needs to support both an e-reader and filtering. Don't lose sentence IDs. Preserve this behavior because future prompts depend on it. Analyze first, don't modify. Those are goal-oriented requirements rather than implementation instructions. I tell it, give me the plan. It won't do it for you. You are the key. I read this as I ask AI for a plan. It doesn't magically build the software for me. I'm still the engineer. That's something you've said yourself several times. Yeah, it's very difficult for me to work any other way. And that is because I am a control freak. Like literally, my personality is that I am a control freak. I've gotten a little bit better as I've gotten older, but this is one area of my life where I really need to feel like I'm in control of what's happening, which is yet another reason why I was late to vibe coding or prompt engineering, agentic workflows, whatever you want to call it, because it from a distance, it felt like I wouldn't be in control of what was going on. And Reshi's in the comments saying yes. So I love this. I love this. And to be clear, I know that I have a big international audience. So please don't ever if there's like a grammatical error or a misspelling, don't let that stop you from chatting with me. I don't care about those things because I know that English is not everybody's first language. That is okay. I would rather have you put something in the chat and then me try to figure out what you're saying than you think, oh, I don't want to chat because my English isn't good enough. Because look, we have help now. We have help interpreting some of the comments. It helps us communicate, which is a good thing. So, okay. Looking at your streams over the past few weeks, you've consistently done things like writing requirements before coding, reviewing Codex's work instead of blindly accepting it. Yes. Stopping to resolve ambiguities, deciding architecture yourself, treating Codex like another engineer on the team rather than an autopilot. Yes. The viewer seems to be recognizing that process. One thing I find interesting is that they specifically mention what your concerns are. That's actually a subtle but important point. When you tell an AI, I'm worried about preserving chapter IDs because later prompts depend on them, or this app needs to support both reading and filtering, you're communicating design intent, not just implementation tasks. That gives the model context for making decisions when it encounters ambiguity. So yes, I think this was intended as a compliment. They're essentially saying, I've learned from watching you that the best prompts explain the goal, the desired end result, and the constraints. I've started doing that myself and it works well. Yay! That's a pretty meaningful compliment for someone watching a software development stream. It suggests they aren't just watching you write code, they're picking up on your development process. Well, we love a nice compliment here. At Angela Holden HQ. Certainly, if you have, I can take constructive feedback as well. But this is good. This is cool. That makes me happy to think that there are other developers out there watching me learn this process and finding it helpful in their own work. So that's really, really cool. And took us a couple minutes to get there. But thank you. Thank you. I think we're on the same page now. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. I'm feeling that cheered me up. Thank you for that. So, okay, sentence tokenizer, I don't know what to do here. Ordinal semantics. Decide 0 versus 1 based ordinals and whether paragraph ordinal is book-wide, chapter-wide, or both. Decide whether headings have any addressable ordinal. So, ordinal, this is a new word. This is a new word that I learned in the last project. Decide 0 versus 1 based ordinals and whether paragraph ordinal is book-wide, chapter-wide, or both. I'm thinking both, but I'm not sure. Text preservation. Decide whether sentence text stores normalized spaces only or also needs source offsets, raw paragraph text for exact e-reader highlighting. So we need the highlighting. I know that. I want that, kind of like we did with the YouTube database transcript, where we put a span around where we had context before and after and then put a span around the thing that was searched so we could highlight it. So I'm just going to say yes. Yes to this. Schema requiredness. Approve which observed top level and nested fields are mandatory and whether unknown fields are allowed. I don't know. Approve which observed top level and nested fields are mandatory and whether unknown fields are allowed. I'm just going to say I don't know because I don't know. So I'm really going to rely on ChatGPT to help with this. Path authority. Confirm that the derived metadata slug.txt path is authoritative and whether a redundant JSON source file remains required only for validation. So I think I can answer this question. which is so I'm going to say yes, that path is authoritative. Do we need to remove the JSON also in those folders? Oh, we don't have that much to go. Hang on 1 second in the chat, Sack. I will get to you in 1 moment. I'm just going to finish up these last couple of questions here. Whoops. Hang on. Okay, extra file policy. Explicitly allow the metadata report and decide how other files and nested directories are handled. So do we remember yesterday when I said specifically, we have this JSON of metadata where we have all of the characters, their aliases, and then all of the locations and their aliases. Plus we have like the chapter count, the sentence count, things like that. And I specifically said, are we just going to use these JSON files that are already made, or are we going to take the data in the JSON, put it in the database, and then make new API JSON with Express? Like, so that's what I feel like this is asking. I wondered this too. We already have JSON, the static JSON files, right? Static JSON files with the character and location and book specific metadata. 1 moment, please. Hold, please. Okay. Do we just use these JSON files, or does this data get imported into the database? Then we generate new API JSON. That's fine, but seems redundant, but also might be a best practice. I don't know. Okay. Alias semantics. Decide collision behavior, case Unicode normalization, use of ambiguous aliases, and whether ambiguous aliases should match multiple entities, be excluded, or require a uniform schema migration. Yeah, not sure. Not sure. Place naming. Choose the normalized application database term places or locations while preserving the source yeah, place naming. I kind of like location. ChatGPT has been calling it places. But I'm the boss, aren't I? So location. Locations. Failure policy. Confirm that empty chapters, books, mixed line endings, unsupported markup, and every parsed count mismatch are fatal to the atomic rebuild. I'm going to say yes, I think. Oh, whoops. Not going to save this. Okay, so let's have ChatGPT mull this over. And then I'm going to talk to the chat for a second. So this is jobs, output, this. Here's some of my feedback after reviewing the report. Okay. So SAC C2N says, what language are you writing in today? So I don't think we're writing in any languages today. We are using agentic AI to build a back end, which is going to be SQLite and Express. Once we build out the front end, it will be vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you have that to look forward to. And SAC also says, I think HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are easy to work with, and I mainly like these languages because they are easy to understand. I totally agree. I mean, I've said it a zillion times that I know why frameworks and libraries are important and used. But I also think vanilla is really important, and I just don't want us to forget about the vanilla, the basics, right? Let's see here. And Reshi says you can use JavaScript fetch to read JSON files. Fetch works for loading JSON, but struggles with complex querying. It's slow with large files, lacks built-in filtering, searching, or joining, and treats data as static, not structured for queries. Yeah. I think that our APIs are going to be pretty straightforward. I'm going to do the front end with vanilla, so we'll probably be using fetch. But I think that's fine because anything else that I do, I can do myself once we've like fetched it, right? So that worked pretty well for the last database, right? Okay, let's see what ChatGPT says. Okay, the report did exactly what we needed. It found that the JSON structure is consistent, but the raw Gutenberg files are not yet deterministic enough to import into sentence-level e-reader data. Here's what I recommend for each decision. Publication date. Add the original publication year to each metadata JSON file tonight. So I will do this later this evening, publication year, rather than publication date, because the historically meaningful data may only be known reliably at year granularity. Do not use Gutenberg upload or edition dates. Yeah. Body boundaries. Yes, you can manually add start and end markers to each plain text file. I would not use the bare words start and end though, because those words could naturally occur in the text. Good. Use unmistakable machine readable markers. Okay. We can put this in. We can put in book start and book end. The importer excludes the marker lines themselves and processes only the content between them. That is much safer than asking the importer to recognize Gutenberg headers, licenses, introductions, advertisements, and edition notes across 9 differently formatted files. Okay. Chapter mapping. I recommend adding explicit chapter markers to the text files too. So we can't do that manually though. We're going to have to do that. We're going to need like probably a Python script to do this on a book by book basis, which I can do that tonight. The marker ID should match the chapter ID in the metadata JSON. The importer uses the marker for structure in the JSON title for display. This solves all the difficult cases consistently. Volumes whose chapter numbering restarts, letters treated as chapters, conclusion, yep. I would remove the original visible chapter heading from the reader body when it's merely structural, because the e-reader can render the chapter title from JSON. The report found that automatic heading matching would be unreliable across the corpus. Okay, so we're going to need like a Python script to do this, because I am not going to be able to manually do that, but I feel pretty confident that ChatGPT could help us write a Python script to do that, right? Okay, paragraph normalization. This is asking how hard-wrapped Gutenberg lines become e-reader paragraphs. Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Here, let's look at one of these books. Mm-hmm. Because look at every paragraph is on its own line, has a hard return. What separates the paragraphs is a blank space. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay. That is one paragraph, not three. I recommend this rule. One or more blank lines separates paragraphs. Physical lines inside the same paragraph block are joined with one space. Leading and trailing white space is trimmed. Repeated internal spaces caused by layout wrapping are collapsed to one space. Original Unicode punctuation, spelling, apostrophes, quotation marks, and dashes are preserved. Chapter and book markers are structural and are not paragraph content. The resulting paragraph would be, yeah. This does normalize Gutenberg page layout, but it does not rewrite Austen's actual text, okay? Sentence tokenizer. The plain text files contain paragraphs, not one sentence per line. A tokenizer must divide each normalized paragraph into sentence chunks. I recommend normalize the paragraph first, run one fixed deterministic English sentence tokenizer, store the tokenizer name version as part of the project contract, manually review representative edge cases before approving it, because, yeah, Mr. period, Mrs. period, this period could be interpreted as the end of a sentence when really it's just an abbreviation, right? Same with the ellipses, initials, sentences ending inside quotation marks, letters, signatures, and dates. Yeah. I would not make the old metadata sentence counts permanently authoritative. Those counts were produced under an informally described process that the report says cannot currently be reproduced. Instead, keep the existing counts temporarily as comparison values, run the approved deterministic tokenizer, review meaningful differences, then update the metadata counts to match the approved importer output. Otherwise, you risk designing a new parser whose only job is to reverse engineer undocumented historical counts. Ordinal semantics. Yes, both. For paragraphs and for sentences, I recommend one-based ordinals because these are content positions, not JavaScript array indexes. This supports both functions. The e-reader can navigate and display source order. Search results can link precisely back to a chapter, paragraph, and a sentence, which is what I want. Headings do not need paragraph or sentence ordinals. They are chapter metadata. How much more of there? There's a lot. Okay. Okay, but we got to keep going. We got to keep going. Oh, so many decisions. Okay, so tell me, um, is this something that people want to see? Do you want to see me read all of this and make these decisions? Or do you want me to do this off stream and just start prompting? What do people want to see? Is this boring? Do you think it's interesting needing to make these decisions? I'm curious. And 8BP Game says hello. Ressi says a lightweight back end like Fast API could be the missing piece. I built Resi Hub AI with vanilla front end and Fast API back end. So we're using Express. Yeah, that's what I've decided to use is Express. And Sack says besides HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, what other languages are there for writing code such as front end, back end, and databases? Well, I mean, I'm a front end developer, so I'm more qualified to give an answer on front end, which, there's the kind of the big three JavaScript frameworks, right? There's React, Vue, and Angular. That's for JavaScript. And then there's Sass and Less, which are not languages. They're more like compilers for writing shorthand, right? For CSS shorthand. You could also use a library for CSS, like the original, the OG is Bootstrap and Foundation. Now, I think most people like to use Tailwind. So, and then as for backend and databases, I don't think I'm like an authority on that. For building APIs, I like Express. I don't have tons and tons of experience with that. Like, let me rephrase. I have experience with it. I like Express. That's what I tend to use. But I haven't built like loads of backends. As far as databases, very little experience. We're using SQLite for these projects in the past. I have a fair amount of experience with MySQL because I started my career as a WordPress developer. So, but I'm not an authority on that. So I'm not the right person to answer that question. I hope that helps. And then Thula, let me see here. Thula Serum says hello. Hello, welcome. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, so we're going to skim. I'm not going to read all of this. Schema requiredness. I recommend requiring the fields the application genuinely depends on. Okay. Empty alias arrays are valid. Empty notes are valid. Empty IDs, names, titles, and chapter collections are not. Okay. I would reject unknown top-level fields during import because they are more likely to be typos than intentional extensions. Path authority. Yes, do not remove the metadata JSON. Those are still the source of truth for titles, characters, locations, aliases, chapters, publication years. You may remove the redundant source file property from inside each JSON file because the importer already derives it from the approved directory slug. You could also keep it and validate it, which we just did, but it does not add useful information. My preference is to remove source file. Well, I've already made sure it's working, so. Extra file policy and the apparent JSON redundancy. Yes, keep the metadata JSON files and import their contents into SQLite. Okay. That is not unnecessary duplication. Each layer has a different responsibility. The API does not need to generate new static JSON files. It returns JSON responses dynamically. Fair. Okay. So these are example endpoints. Alias semantics. I recommend standardizing the metadata now. Aliases contain safe aliases that may be used automatically for filtering. Ambiguous aliases contains names shared by multiple people. Yes. Ambiguous aliases are not used for automatic sentence filtering. Matching is case insensitive. Okay. Place naming, use locations consistently in the application requirements. So let's update this. Let's make sure we're doing this in the correct. So I think we want to do this in .json, right? Okay. Failure policy, mostly yes. These should all fail the entire atomic import. Luckily, we only have to import once because this is not information that's going to change or get updated, right? The resulting source contract. So again, we're going to need like a Python script to do this. We might as well do this next, right? Then the importer has deterministic answers. Okay. So then the importer has deterministic answers. What belongs to the book, where chapters start, what constitutes a paragraph, how paragraphs become sentences, where a sentence belongs in reading order, how a search result opens and highlights inside the e-reader. Well, wait a second though. This should be a front-end task. The largest decision is not really the database schema yet. It is whether you are comfortable turning these Gutenberg files into canonical application source files by adding structural markers. So it's a good thing that we made copies of the books. We didn't just move the books into that folder yesterday, we made copies because we're going to be changing our copies. Okay, so first, this is a front-end task. This should be a front-end task as long as the searched for keyword returns the correct sentence. I'll wrap it in a div or span and highlight it. I can add the book start and bookend to each book, but I'll need help with a Python script to normalize the chapters. Correct. Opening and highlighting the sentence is a front-end responsibility. The back-end does not need to store character offsets or implement highlighting. For the database API, the important part is that every search result returns the matching sentence text, a stable sentence identifier or ordinal, its book, its chapter, probably its paragraph ordinal, so the e-reader can locate the surrounding paragraph. Then your front end can render the reader content and apply a class to the matching sentence. Yeah, I want the previous and the next. So I would reject the report's decision framing of source offsets raw paragraph text for exact e-reader highlighting. You do not need raw file offsets for your planned front end. You need stable relationships between each sentence and its paragraph or chapter. The front end decides how that sentence is marked up and highlighted. Chapter normalization. Yes, a Python script is the right approach, but I would not try to write one generic script that magically recognizes all 9 books immediately. The report establishes that their chapter structures differ too much. Normal chapters, volumes with chapter numbering, restarts. I would handle this as a controlled source preparation step. First, manually add book start and book end to each file. Then use Python to help identify and replace chapter headings with explicit markers. Oh my God, this is too much. Okay. So let's start by adding book start and book end to each file. I mean, we can start with Emma. Let's close some of these. Boy, this one's complicated. But man, just think about it's gonna work in our favor to get all of these things figured out first, right? I don't think I need this. Okay. So let's start with Emma. We're going to get book start and book end. Oh, is this one from the wrong folder? Okay. So right here. Book volume 1, chapter 1. I think technically we're right here. Whoops. Book start. So now we want to find the end right here. Book end. All right, one down. Lady Susan. Right here. Book start. And then guessing right here. Book end. All right. Love and friendship. I feel like this is the table of contents. This is the title. This is the dedication. Does the dedication get included? This is the title of the first set of letters. Yes. So this title, I'm going to put it as the book start. And right here, book end. Mansfield Park. Luckily, we don't have too many to do here. All right, book start. Book end. Okay. Mansfield Park, my least favorite. No, I mean, Northanger Abbey, maybe. Maybe Northanger Abbey is my least favorite. Well, Northanger Abbey, here's our publication date. This little work was, well, no, it was finished. Okay, we're going to do right here. Book start. I'm going to do bookend here. Okay. What's next? Northanger Abbey. We're almost there. Persuasion. Bookend. What is this? Oh, this is a huge introduction. This is one of the most famous opening lines of any book ever. Other than Call Me Ishmael from Moby Dick, it is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. That is universally famous. It is so famous. I love it. Book start. Okay. I think this is the end right here. Well, we'll do it after the end. Okay. I think this is an introduction. These are the, I don't know what those are. So we'll do book start here. Book end here. And the letters of Jane Austen. We're almost there. We're almost done. Okay, so here's a preface. Here's the title. So we'll do here, book start. Hang on, what's going on here? End. Oh, here we are. The end. Okay. Book end. Okay, well, that wasn't so bad. Okay. Okay. Write a read-only chapter detection audit script. Run it against one book, probably Emma. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Book start and book end are finished. I think you can write the read only chapter detection audit script now. Okay. I mean, it doesn't really surprise me, I guess, that we're not going to have to, it doesn't surprise me that we need to do this work ahead of time to prep these manuscripts, right? So here's our script. Oh, let's not be done yet. Run the first test against Emma. The important behavior is it only reads the .txt file and the metadata.json files. It only examines content between book start and book end. It reports physical line numbers. It compares detected headings with chapters.length. It maps candidates to metadata chapters only when the counts match. It treats volume headings separately. It does not add chapter markers. It does not claim that a mismatch list is valid. For the conventional novels, this may work immediately or reveal small punctuation casing variations that need another regex. Love and Friendship will almost certainly require closer manual review because of the source analysis found heterogeneous section types rather than one consistent chapter format. Okay. So we're going to put this in scripts and we're going to call it Audit Chapter Headings. Wait, do I already have a scripts? Okay. Audit Chapter Headings. Do I have the correct? Do I need to put that inside? Where do I need to put that? Does it know where to look? Hang on. I don't know where to put this. Where do I put the scripts folder? Put it at the root of the Jane Austen project alongside metadata. Got it. Then run it from the project root. Okay. Okay. All right. That doesn't look right. Okay. Result pass. The detected headings can be reviewed as a proposed sequential mapping to the metadata chapter records. So let me just take a screenshot of this because I don't think it produced a report. Emma result. Okay, so more importantly, it validates the overall approach before you've written a single line of importer code. A few observations. The script found all 55 chapters. That's exactly what we wanted. It means the detector is robust enough for Emma. Volume headings were handled correctly. Not counted as chapters. That's good. This is really nice because it confirms the design. Your metadata has chapter 37, volume 3, chapter 1, while the text has volume 3, chapter 1. Yeah, because the ID needs to be a sequential number. The detector can keep those concepts separate, which makes adding markers much easier. The context is extremely useful. I actually like this output more than I expected. Before and after means you'll immediately notice if the detector accidentally matched something in a table of contents or an advertisement. I'd keep that feature. Okay. I would make one small enhancement before we write an apply script. Instead of only printing proposed mapping chapter 54, I'd also print the marker you eventually want to insert. Something like current heading, chapter 54. No, that's chapter, 18. Insert. Is this 54? Insert chapter 54. You don't have to modify okay. I think we should split the next step. Originally, I was thinking audit, modify. Now I think there should be one more step. Audit, generate proposed chapter markers, and then apply chapter markers, meaning script 1, read only, done. Script 2, generate something like Emma chapter markers.txt containing the lines and where to insert. No source file changes, just a proposal. Script 3 reads that proposal and applies it. Why? Because if one of the books is weird, like Love and Friendship almost certainly will be, you can edit the proposal instead of modifying the Python. One thing I noticed, the detector is already using metadata. That's a really good sign. You're no longer trying to discover the chapters. You're verifying. Given this metadata, I can confidently locate each chapter. Can I confidently locate each chapter in the source text? That's a much stronger engineering problem. My recommendation, I would run this script against all 9 books before writing another script. I wouldn't be surprised if Emma passes. Yeah, I think everything. Oh, it thinks everything is going to pass except Love and Friendship. All right, let's do it. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. Okay. So we need this though to print out someplace. I mean, I don't think I can I just print the whole thing? Okay. So it needs to print. It's just printing to the console. The report is only printing to the console. Can we modify the Python to print a file / report? I love it when it's like, change this, and then change this, and then change this, and it doesn't tell me where it is. Okay. 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 To be clear, you're doing all of it, not me. Remember? So telling me to change one line here and another line there does me no good. Just update the Python script for the love of the traveling Mary. Whoever said AI was taking over the world is on crack. It's not happening. Please. Did I hurt ChatGPT's feelings? Is it just not going to respond? Is it giving me the silent treatment? Is that what this is? Is this silent treatment? I mean, I don't think this conversation is that long. I've had longer conversations with ChatGPT than this. So I don't think it's like losing memory from this conversation. Is there like is there something going on at OpenAI? I mean, and I've also, to be very clear, I've been much, much snarkier than this. Okay. Sorry about that. Here's the complete updated script. So I have to download this. Okay. Oh. Oh my God. Run Emma again. Okay. So I think this worked. Let's show it. I think this worked. Okay. The proposed marker is perfect. The summary report is worth keeping. I have 2 suggestions. These aren't problems, just ideas that I think would make the reports even more useful. Add a next action. Instead of ending with the last volume heading, I'd add something like this. That makes the report feel complete. Include the metadata file name in each proposed marker. What I would do next, why does it give me this list of things to do? Like I'm the one actually writing all of this. Just do it. Okay. That's great if you want to add things, but you present this information like I'm actually writing the script. How do you want me to make that change? I don't write Python. I don't write Python. Also, stop constantly editing when you should be reviewing. You asked me to review whether it worked. It did. The Emma audit passed cleanly. 55 expected chapters, 55 detected, no errors, and the generated report correctly maps to each heading. I should have stopped there. You do not need to make any changes to the script right now. The extra suggestions were unnecessary, and I presented them as though you were responsible for implementing them. Going forward, when a script needs changing, I'll provide the complete updated file rather than describing edits for you to make. Didn't we have this conversation yesterday where I was like, stop editing? Your job is to, like, you're reviewing and then you're saying, oh yeah, we should make all these changes. Didn't I feel like we did that yesterday, right? Okay, great. What's next? Great. What's next? This is the part. This is the part that I hate about dealing with ChatGPT. It's this stuff. Mm. Okay, run the audit across all 9 books. I can't be the only one. Okay. So here's all of the reports. Kind of curious about this. So Lady Susan expected 42, detected 1. Love and Friendship expected 36, detected 33. Mansfield Park, Northanger Abbey, Persuasion are all pass. Pride and Prejudice expected 61, detected 60. Sense and Sensibility is pass. And The Letters of Jane Austen expected 78, 0 detected. So there's a formatting issue there as well. Okay. Here's the audit report. So 5 books pass as is, 4 need custom handling. What the failures mean. Lady Susan, only conclusion was detected. Its letters are not formatted as standalone letter 1, letter 2, etc. So the current detector is looking for the wrong pattern. Love and Friendship. The broad uppercase rule found 33 candidates, but several are clearly dedications, subtitles, signatures, or other uppercase text, not necessarily true section boundaries. It needs a custom mapping, not a broader regex. Pride and Prejudice. Chapters 2 through 61 were detected, so chapter 1 is the only missing case. Did I miss chapter 1? Oh, hang on. How much you want to bet I needed to put this before? I bet if we rerun this, if I put this here and we rerun this, um, this will resolve that. There we go. Okay. The Letters of Jane Austen. None were detected. Okay. So I think that we're going to exclude Lady Susan, Love and Friendship, and The Letters of Jane Austen. I think that we should start with the 6 original published books. I think we just fixed the Pride and Prejudice chapter issue. And I think that a phase 2 of this project could include these 3 books. So that's what I'm thinking in order to move things forward. I think I fixed the Pride and Prejudice chapter issue. Let's rerun the report. I also think we should exclude Lady Susan, Love and Friendship, and the letters for now. I agree. Rerun Pride and Prejudice. Exclude the other 3 books. Because I think that I can normalize the remaining books at a later date. Let's prioritize the books that all work and that are all already normalized. Get this project up and running, and then I can deal with those other three things later, right? Because they are structurally different. So let's go back here. So let's do this. Pride. Do I need the dashes? Probably. And prejudice. Whoops. Still needs review. Still needs a review. Book body starts 696. Yeah. It starts with chapter 1. So maybe the chapter is failing because of this. Where's chapter 2? Maybe that's a better. Yeah, that's why. It's failing because of that. Okay, hang on. We're going to fix this. Chapter, chapter, chapter. Okay, that's the reason why. I gotcha. I can handle that. Where are we here? Okay. So it's got this illustration. That's why. So we'll just do that. And this. And this. I bet that's going to fix it. There we go. Now we pass. Nice. Okay, we did it. We fixed it. So now we have our 6 original normalized books. You know what I would like to do? Let's rerun the complete report. Let's rerun the complete report, but we need to exclude should we just take some of these things out? I kind of just want to take Lady Susan, Love and Friendship, the letters of Jane Austen. So I'm just removing those all together. And now let's just do all. 6 books audited, 6 books passed. And then I'm just gonna delete the reports that we don't need. So now we have our chapter audit summary. Everything passed. Nice. Nice. Okay, this is good. Done. And I moved the other 3 books to a different folder for safe keeping. It will be a V2 of the project. Okay, the audit phase is done. The next project is the importer. Well, wait a second though. The audit phase is done. Don't we have to actually update the text files though? The next project is the importer, not the API, not the front end, the importer, because once the importer works, everything else becomes much easier. I'd structure the remaining work like this. Phase 2, importer. Create the SQLite database, create the schema, import all 6 books, import chapter metadata, tokenize into sentences, store sentence ordinals, store chapter ordinals, store paragraph ordinals, import character location metadata, build the FTS index. When that's done, you'll have a populated database. Phase 3, Express. Phase 4, the e-reader. One thing I would do before writing the importer, I'd spend one prompt designing the SQLite schema, not implementing it, designing it. The YouTube project taught us a lot. What belongs in SQLite, what belongs in JSON, where FTS should live, how ordinals work, why importer scripts should own the database. I'd like to leverage those lessons instead of discovering them halfway through. So I think the next Codex prompt should be design the SQLite schema for the Jane Austen database. Do not write code. Review the requirements, metadata, and source normalization. Produce a schema proposal and explain the relationships, indexes, and FTS strategy. That gives us something concrete to review before a single table is created. I think that's exactly where the project should go next. It follows the same disciplined process that worked so well on the YouTube database. Requirements, analysis, audit, schema, importer, API, front end. Okay. Great. To be clear, you don't want to edit the book txt files with the normalized chapter information. Actually, yeah, I didn't imagine that, right? Originally, he was like, we're going to edit these. Actually, I've changed my mind since we started this process. At first, I thought we should insert markers like this into the canonical text. Now I don't think we should. I'm guessing it's because we audited and passed, and they were able to identify all the chapters. We've already proven we can find the chapters. That was the purpose of the audit. The audit demonstrates that given the metadata, we can reliably locate every chapter heading in every supported novel. Once that's true, adding markers doesn't buy us much. The importer can do the work. Instead of changing chapter, whatever this is, to chapter 37, the importer can simply recognize what this is and know it's chapter 37. Then it inserts it into SQLite. The chapter ID, the chapter ordinal, the sentence ordinal, the paragraph ordinal. The source text stays pristine. That's how the YouTube project worked. Think about your transcript database. You never modified the transcript files. The importer interpreted them and built the database. This is the same idea. Keeping the source immutable has advantages. Your TXT files remain original, human readable, easy to compare against Project Gutenberg, reusable for future importers. If you ever discover a bug in the importer, you simply delete the database and rebuild it. You never have to undo changes to the source text. Fair. The metadata already provides the mapping. Your metadata says the title, and then what the corresponding ID is. The audit proved that the 37th detected heading corresponds to that metadata record. That's all the importer needs. So my recommendation is keep book start and book end, which I think was a really good exercise. Leave the chapter headings exactly as they appear in the source text. Let the importer detect the headings and assign chapter IDs during import. Treat the TXT files as immutable source material. I think that's a cleaner architecture. The audit wasn't just a test. It eliminated the need to annotate the source files. Now the importer can derive the chapter structure from the verified headings every time it builds the database. Okay. Um, okay. I actually think that this is a good time to call it for today. And Malik Robinson, GoGo Elmo, is kindly letting us know that it's been over 2 hours. So I think this is a good place to leave it for today. And then we can do the next step tomorrow and write the importer and actually build the database. I thought we were going to get a little further along today, but I also understand why we had to do this, why this was important. I'm still, I'm still, I don't know. I don't know how to express how I feel about how, did I just pick a project? Did I pick two projects that were just unusually complicated? Is that what I did? I don't know. It's just so much. There's just so much to do. There's so much to learn. There's so much to know. It's just a lot. Um, it's just a lot. So, yeah. Malik says, good work, steady progress. Well, we have a clear next step for tomorrow. Do me a favor. Would you please like this video, subscribe if you're new here. I would appreciate it. Helps the channel grow. Helps get this pushed out to more people who might be interested in this type of content, and I would appreciate it so much. Alwyn says, hello, love from Kerala, India. And Sak is also from Thailand. Nice to meet you all as well. Sak also said, I like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and TypeScript because they are easy to understand, they work well, and might be better suited for complex websites and web applications. Which platform should I deploy? I think it really depends on your project. I think it depends on your complex and or your website, your project, your business needs, who's going to be maintaining it, right? I think someone could make an argument for some of the things that I've built may be better suited to React or Angular or Vue. And I wouldn't argue that point. My only point is that I just like to practice the basics. So I don't have strong opinions on which framework or whether somebody should be using TypeScript versus JavaScript. I just don't have strong opinions on that. I think that it's each developer's job to understand what works best for the project and make that decision that way. And sometimes you just decide to use something because you like it. There's that too, right? I just don't have strong opinions about those things. I think people sometimes want me to have strong opinions. For that, I don't. There are too many frameworks, libraries. There are too many things to choose from. It depends on the project and the preference of the developer. I'm sure there are people out there who have much stronger opinions on these things than I do. So I tend to stick with static because it's simple and I like simple. But but certainly that's for my personal project. Professionally, it depends on who's hiring me, what they already have in place, what the other parts of the project are already using. Or sometimes somebody hires me and they're like, we would like to use XYZ. And I'm like, okay, no problem. We can do that. So, okay. I'm tired. It was a lot. This type of thing just makes me tired. My brain is working so hard to get through all of this. I am easily frustrated by ChatGPT and some of the runaround, but I also acknowledge that I couldn't do any of this without ChatGPT. None of it. I couldn't do any of this. How could I do all of this without ChatGPT? What would happen? What would happen if we built a full stack app and we didn't go through this? We just told Codex. I don't know what would happen. I literally have no idea. So, anyways, okay. Everybody, have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Come back tomorrow and we're going to do the next thing, which is write the importer. And I think we'll actually be able to build the database. I'm really glad that we just decided to eliminate those 3 books for now. I'll add them in the future so we can get this database built, we can get this API built, and we can get moving forward with this project. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.